Hey sightseers, Sightseeing Sally here. I'm in Duncan, Michigan, not to be confused with Duncan, the 80s hair band. Duncan, Michigan is a ghost town up here in the Keweenaw Peninsula. Even though Duncan's considered a ghost town, there are still people who live here today. It appears a lot of the old abandoned buildings of Duncan are all across this main highway, which is M26. So I'm gonna try and get over there and get some footage from that. It'd be easier if I had somebody along that they could just drop me off. Just saying. Oh, look at that old truck. Isn't that cool? One of the old buildings that's still intact here in Duncan. You can see what looks like another old building hidden among the trees. A couple old campers back in there. Originally named Beaver, this once bustling town was renamed Duncan after Don and Ken Case, sons of the owner of a local lumber company. At its peak, there were over 600 people living here. I'm gonna kind of cheat here and film from the vehicle. It is cold out there. Thermometer out here to see if I could see what the temperature is. I know one thing, it is below freezing. So there's ice everywhere, the snow hasn't melted, and it is super cold. I feel you, Mabel. And there just really isn't a good spot for me to park and walk around. Not that I really want to be walking around out in this cold. Yeah, I'm being a wimp. Good thing this is a ghost town. I'm just like driving down the wrong side of the road here. Hey! All is quiet here in Duncan, except for the sound of the highway in the background. Interestingly enough, there is a trail that runs behind Duncan, and it looks like it's open to motorcycles or dirt bikes, ATVs, and even Jeeps. See what I mean about seasonal roads? Now, if you're not familiar with this part of the UP or Upper Michigan, this section is known for copper mining, which is, go figure why Copper Harbor is called Copper Harbor. And we'll be heading up there a little bit later in the day. But I wanted to show you Duncan because it's one of those ghost towns that is pretty well preserved as far as it hasn't been taken over by any kind of historical society, and yet it remains in a state of somewhat arrested decay. Look at that building just sitting there. Looks like some kind of industrial type building, maybe a warehouse, manufacturing, I don't know. Hard to say. Your guess is as good as mine. Unless you happen to be from Duncan and you catch this video, let me know in the comments section below. Here's something you couldn't see over the weeds and grasses growing. Somebody's old boats that likely once sailed on Lake Superior. Now this looks like it's just a storage facility now. I get back to the car. I don't want to leave Mabel in there too long alone. She has a tendency to get scared and separation anxiety if she's left alone too long. Plus I got a lot more to see. Quite a few more stops I want to hit up, and with this being on the cusp of winter, days are a lot shorter. I know, Mabel. I got this car as warm as possible for you. Got the seat on, and you're snuggled in there. Just, yeah, don't you hunker down and take a snooze? Yeah, that was cool in more ways than one. Did I mention it was cold out? Yeah. Well, I'm going to figure out my next step and get going off this highway. Taking a little detour here in Paynesdale because you got to see this. Now that's an example of an old building. It even has an old frying pan and horseshoe above the door. Probably one of the original houses from back in the copper mining days. Interesting. I wonder if it's in the process of being renovated. That would be really cool if it was. So this little detour proved to be a lot more fruitful than what I was thinking, because check this out. Very cool. It's kind of like I just turned down this road because my eye caught this other building that we'll go take a look at here in a moment, but I just landed up in this really historic section of town. That is just amazing. And look at these buildings here. And look at this. That building is massive. I wonder if the railroad used to run through here. Because this looks like it could have been something that was stationed along a rail bed. Well, given the amount of historic buildings here, I think we're going to take a closer look here in Paynesdale. There might be more treasures waiting to be discovered. You know what that is, right? An old Suzuki snowmobile. It's in pretty rough shape. Somebody was a junk collector at one time. Well, that answers that. Here I thought I stumbled on an old granary. It's actually the Champion copper mine. This is cool. This is exactly why I came up here in this section, to check out the old copper mining stuff. Oh, looks like they even have visitor parking. How about if I just move my car over here and go walk around? Over there you can see my vehicle. Directly across from where I'm parked is the old mine captain office, which was established in 1902. And then next door is this other green painted building. Not really sure what that was used for. Let's go poke around, take a look, see what else we can discover up close. Instead of shooting from afar, I can actually get up close, and it's not illegal. I'm not breaking any laws. Not that I was before. This is really awesome. I love places like this. You can walk around and look at the buildings and stuff, and it's in that more of an arrested state of decay, so it's not fully rehabbed and looking, museum-like. This is more like down and dirty what it looked like shortly after they stopped operations, and then along with a little bit of Mother Nature adding her decor to it. Well, now that I'm down here, you can see just how massive that building is. Goes way up there. I'm still laughing over the fact that I thought that was a granary. I'm sure Marty's listening to this, just shaking his head, laughing at me. Leave it to me. How would I know? It's not like I'm an expert on mining stuff. And then this is the back side of those other buildings we were looking at from the front. The ones that I thought maybe the railroad came through, which it's very possible that some sort of rail system came through there. Funny story, that building you see out there, hidden in the trees, that's what actually caught my eye and led me down this whole rabbit hole of visiting the old copper mine here in Paynesdale. Well, as fun as that was, I guess it's time we move on. Making my way up to Copper Harbor, I decided that based on the time, I better get my booty up here. I'm just taking a quick break though from the drive so you could see this. Isn't that just beautiful? Wow, the scenery up here is just so amazing. I think I could spend a solid week up here and still not see everything I want to see. Which is exactly why I suddenly find myself cruising down a lonely dirt road looking for the Copper Harbor Lighthouse. Looks like we've come to the end of the road. We're gonna have to hike on foot from this point forward. We're just gonna ignore the sign that says no dogs. Besides, Mabel's not really a dog, she's more like a gizmo. Well, this did not bring me where I thought it was. Not anywhere near the lighthouse. So I'm going to boogie on back. I'm losing daylight as we speak. I'm running out of time. There's like 2 more stops I want to get to yet, so this is like the race against the sun today. Not to be outdone by the sun, I make my way back quickly to civilization, stopping only long enough to catch a glimpse of the lighthouse from afar. I made it to Mandan. It's one of the ghost towns up here in the UP. Been wanting to explore. Look at that. The house is intact, left over from copper mining days, along with the neighbor next door. Daylight, though, is quickly fading, so I'm going to quick walk around here and see what we can all see before it gets way too dark and I get lost here up in the north woods of the UP. Still has the old propane tanks back here. Oh. You know what that is, right? The outdoor privy. Must not be any running water inside. Pretty impressive, though. Yeah, I don't think it's 80 degrees out here. The thermometer is broke. Oh, look, an old gas can still sitting here. In the essence of time, I just got in the car and drove down to the next house. Don't have a whole lot of time. Keep saying that, but it's just like, I feel so rushed trying to get to all these places. And I only had 2 nights booked at the Airbnb, and it's not like I couldn't have maybe extended the stay, but I didn't feel quite right leaving Marty with all the responsibilities at home for more than 2 nights. So regardless, it is what it is, and so we're making the best of it, making it snappy. As you can see, this one's all painted up. Somebody's probably in the process of restoring it. It's got no trespassing signs on it, so apparently they don't want nobody busting in and helping themselves to whatever's there. Nothing inside. Not that I expected there to be anything, but you never know. Cooler on the porch. That one's got milk in it. My guess is somebody's probably using this as a hunting camp of some sort. Not unusual, given where we're at up here in the UP. And then directly across the street, kind of kitty corner from the other two, is this one, which is obviously being rehabbed. For all I know, somebody lives there, so I don't dare get too close. Because that one is clearly marked too. Camp Weasel. You know what kind of people are staying at Camp Weasel? Kind of gun-toting nuts that live up in the UP. Just kidding. I'm probably one of them. Would be considered one of them, given where I live over in the Northwoods, Wisconsin. And Marty is kind of nuts. Just saying. Sorry, Marty. Picking on you, and you're not here to defend yourself. But this is what's left of Mandan. I know online accounts said that there were several houses here intact and some foundations and whatnot. I guess I expected it to be a little bit bigger than just 3 houses. I did see a foundation when I rolled up before the first gray house, but nothing exciting about seeing a foundation in the ground. What do you think, Mabel? Should we boogie? Should we boogie on out of here? Get you some grub? Yeah, I don't want to run into Bigfoot either. This is one of those random stops that isn't going to make any sense until you get up and see it. You know how there is that huge thermometer in Baker's, California? Well, here in the UP, there's something that is similar, kind of its equivalent, except it has nothing to do with reading temperature, but has to do with snowfall totals. Yep, up here they're tracking all-time high snowfall totals for the year. So like last year, the total snow that fell was 15 feet. And the record high snowfall was the winter of 78 to 79 with a whopping 3,904 inches. Can you believe that? That is a lot of snow. Just to put things into perspective, all I can say is, damn, that's a lot of snow. Anyways, just something random I discovered up here in the Keweenaw Peninsula off Highway 41. Mabel's looking out there thinking, dang, that's bigger than me. No, I think she's really wondering when she's gonna get her chicken dinner. Okay, one last looky-loo before the sun goes down. Look at that. Isn't that just amazing? That was the direction I just came from, down from Copper Harbor. Well, I'm excited to try out the Keurig. I choose you. Ooh, that'll warm me up. That hits the spot.
Special thanks goes out to all our fellow sightseers here on Patreon and PayPal. Without you, these videos wouldn't be possible.